Another Christmas morning dawns over Sandringham, and once again, one familiar place at the royal table remains conspicuously empty. The absence is no longer shocking, but it is still loaded with meaning. Prince Harry, once the cheeky spare darting through palace corridors, will again spend Christmas thousands of miles away, under the California sun rather than beneath the Norfolk frost. And if you think this is just another family scheduling conflict, stay with us, because this particular Christmas absence tells a much larger story about power, memory, symbolism, and a monarchy quietly reshaping itself without one of its most famous sons. For the sixth consecutive year, Prince Harry will not wake up on Christmas morning at Sandringham House, where generations of royals have unwrapped joke gifts, sipped tea by the fire, and performed the carefully choreographed rituals of royal togetherness. Instead, Harry, Meghan, and their two children, Archie and Lilibet, will mark the festive season in California, far removed not just by geography, but by history, tradition, and unresolved tension. The last time Harry and Meghan joined the royal family for Christmas was in 2018, a year that now feels like a lifetime ago. Meghan was pregnant with Archie, the atmosphere was still cautiously optimistic, and the idea of a full royal rupture remained unthinkable, or so it seemed. Fast forward to today, and the picture could not be more different. Relations between the Sussexes and the royal family remain icy, formal at best, and emotionally distant at worst. Invitations, if they exist at all, appear wrapped in silence rather than ribbon, and Harry's absence is no longer an anomaly, it is the new tradition. Comment below if you think this distance will ever truly be repaired, or if this royal frost has become permanent. This year's Sandringham guest list also excludes another controversial royal figure, Prince Andrew. Once a central presence at family gatherings, Andrew has been stripped of his titles amid the ongoing fallout from the Jeffrey Epstein scandal. His absence is enforced, Harry's is chosen, or perhaps mutually accepted, and that distinction matters. Because while Andrew's exclusion signals institutional discipline, Harry's absence signals something far more complex, emotional estrangement layered with personal choice, public narrative, and quiet resentment on all sides. Yet, according to Harry himself, Christmas at Sandringham may not be something he misses all that much. In his memoir, Spare, Harry pulled back the velvet curtain on royal Christmases, revealing not warmth and nostalgia, but awkwardness, irony, and emotional distance disguised as tradition. One particular anecdote stands out, not because it is dramatic, but because it is devastatingly small. Harry recalls receiving a Christmas gift from his great-aunt Princess Margaret, the Queen's younger sister. Standing before a pile of presents, he chose the smallest one first. The tag read, "From Aunt Margot." Polite and eager, Harry looked over and thanked her. "I do hope you liked it," she replied. Harry tore off the paper. Inside was a biro, not a jeweled pen, not an antique, just a biro. His response, half confusion, half forced enthusiasm, was met with clarification. It wasn't just any biro, Margaret insisted. It had a tiny rubber fish wrapped around it. A fish biro? Harry recalled telling himself. That is cold-blooded. On the surface, it's a humorous moment, an example of the royal family's long-standing tradition of joke gifts. But beneath the humor lies something sharper. A prince, reduced symbolically to novelty stationery. A spare, reminded of his place through kitsch irony. Stay with us, because this small gift opens a much larger window into how the royal family communicates affection, hierarchy, and belonging. As Harry reflects in Spare, he later realized that Princess Margaret and he had more in common than he ever understood at the time. Two spares, he called them, both born into privilege, but overshadowed by an older sibling, both struggling with the silent competition baked into royal birth order. Margaret, forever the spare to Queen Elizabeth II. Harry, eternally compared to Prince William. Different eras, same emotional architecture. Harry observed that Margaret's relationship with Granny mirrored his own with William in unsettling ways. The rivalry, the tension, the sense that the elder sibling, by virtue of position alone, held an unspoken advantage. It is a striking admission, not least because it reframes Margaret not as a cautionary tale, but as a mirror. He went further still, drawing comparisons between Princess Margaret and his mother, Princess Diana, both rebels, both labeled sirens, both magnets for attention, controversy, and desire. Harry even noted that Pablo Picasso was among the many men captivated by Margaret. In Harry's telling, these women were not merely flawed royals, they were disruptors, figures who unsettled the monarchy simply by refusing to be contained by it. And this is where symbolism deepens. The fish biro, initially dismissed as a gag, becomes something else entirely, a reminder that spares are allowed humor, but rarely authority, allowed charm, but rarely control, allowed to exist, but only within boundaries defined by others. The royal family, of course, has long defended its Christmas gift tradition as light-hearted. For decades, royals have exchanged inexpensive, often absurd presents on Christmas Eve, deliberately avoiding anything lavish or meaningful. Among the most infamous gifts are a leather toilet seat given to then Prince Charles, a grow-your-own-girlfriend kit presented to Prince Harry, and a shower cap gifted to the late Queen bearing the words, "Ain't life a bitch?" These gifts are meant to amuse, to puncture royal seriousness, to remind the family that beneath the crowns, they are just people. But as royal expert Katie Nicholl explained in Channel 4's documentary A Very Royal Christmas, Sandringham's Secrets, the success of a gift is measured by one thing only, whether it makes the Queen laugh. The more kitsch, the better, Nicholl noted. Nothing ostentatious or terribly expensive. That doesn't really go down well.
And yet, even humor has hierarchy. Not every joke lands the same way for every recipient. What feels playful to one generation can feel dismissive to another. What feels bonding to insiders can feel alienating to those already on the margins. Princess Anne's infamous gift to her brother Charles, a leather-bound toilet seat, perfectly illustrates this duality. Former royal press secretary Dickie Arbiter explained the joke succinctly. The toilet, after all, is sometimes called the throne, and so Anne's gift was her way of saying, "Here you are, you've got your own personal throne." Clever. Irreverent, sibling humor at its finest. But imagine receiving that gift when your position in the family is already precarious. Imagine humor reinforcing status rather than softening it. And this brings us back to Harry, now celebrating Christmas oceans away, surrounded not by centuries-old tradition, but by a new family narrative he has chosen to build. California Christmases are different. No Sandringham walk to church, no carefully staged photographs, no joke gifts carrying centuries of coded meaning, just Harry, Meghan, and their children, free from hierarchy but also cut off from heritage. Is this freedom or loss? Perhaps it is both. What makes Harry's absence especially poignant is that it is no longer accompanied by public outrage. The monarchy has moved on. King Charles hosts Christmas without his younger son. Prince William stands firmly as heir. The institution continues, steady and unbothered as institutions are designed to do. And Harry, once central to the royal brand, has become peripheral to its present. That, perhaps, is the greatest irony of all. Harry spent years fighting to be heard, to be seen, to be valued beyond his role as spare, and now, in stepping away, he has rendered himself quieter within the very system he sought to challenge. Subscribe now if you're following this evolving royal power shift, because the story is far from over.
Yet silence does not mean insignificance. Harry's memoir, his interviews, his public reflections all continue to shape how the monarchy is perceived, particularly by younger generations. His Christmas memories, small and strange as they may seem, offer rare insight into how tradition can both bind and bruise. As another Christmas passes without him at Sandringham, the question is no longer whether Harry will return for the holidays. The question is whether the royal family he left behind has room for the kind of emotional honesty he now insists upon. Because Christmas, in the end, is not about the gifts. It is about belonging, and whether through a fish-wrapped biro or a seat at the table, the message Harry received, then and now, may be the same. You can be born a prince and still feel like a spare, and sometimes the coldest gifts are the ones that remind you exactly where you stand. Stay with us for more royal truths, hidden meanings, and stories the palace never tells.